What if the reason TSA keeps pulling your bag aside in 2026 has nothing to do with what you packed, but how your electronics look to them when you're not paying attention? Because here's something most travelers don't realize, and TSA will never explain this clearly over a loudspeaker. Not ever. Airport security has quietly shifted its focus, and electronics are no longer just objects. They're signals, patterns, little digital stories about how you travel, how you move, how you think, and whether you fit inside what they call normal. And in 2026, that invisible definition of normal is tighter than it's ever been, especially with electronics that travelers carry every single day without fear, without concern, without realizing that these devices are now screened harder, not because they're dangerous, but because they're unpredictable, because a laptop that's powered off the wrong way, a tablet stacked at the wrong angle, a power bank that looks slightly older than it should, can quietly slow you down, flag you, and change the entire mood of your screening experience. And it starts with laptops, not new ones, not shiny ones, but older laptops with thicker batteries, scratched shells, missing brand labels. TSA officers don't panic when they see them, but they pause, and that pause matters. Because older laptops create messy X-ray images, layers overlap, batteries look dense, ports cast shadows. And in 2026, TSA has been trained to spend extra seconds on anything that doesn't scan clean the first time. Seconds turn into bag pulls. Bag pulls turn into questions. And questions change how the rest of your screening goes. Then there are tablets, especially iPads in bulky cases, kids' tablets, off-brand tablets, the ones with foam, rubber, bright colors. TSA doesn't see a tablet. They see obstruction, cases, block edges. Internal wiring looks thicker than expected. And when you stack a tablet on top of another device, even by accident, you're telling the scanner to work harder, which means an officer now has to work harder too. Then come the power banks, small objects with big attention. Power banks are dense, lithium heavy, and TSA knows travelers carry more of them every year. Different shapes, different capacities, some legit, some sketchy. And in 2026, officers are trained to look twice at power banks that don't clearly show capacity labels or look swollen, worn, or taped, even slightly. And here's where travelers mess up. They toss power banks deep into bags under chargers, cords, snacks. That creates layered density, which looks ugly on X-ray. Ugly images trigger manual checks trigger delays. Then we get to smartwatches and fitness trackers. People think it's tiny, it's nothing. But when you leave multiple wearables inside your bag instead of on your wrist or in a tray, TSA sees clusters of small electronics with batteries, Bluetooth chips, irregular shapes. And in 2026, clustering matters because pattern recognition, software flags, unusual groupings, even if each item is harmless on its own. Cameras are another quiet problem, especially mirrorless cameras and drones. Drones more than anything. Drones are legal, common, and still heavily watched because they combine motors, batteries, cameras, antennas, all in one neat package. TSA doesn't care if you're a hobbyist or a YouTuber. They care how the drone looks on the screen. Arms folded wrong, battery inserted, spare batteries stacked nearby. That's a recipe for extra screening every single time. Then there are headphones. Yes, headphones. Especially noise-canceling over-ear models with thick ear cups. Those cups hide wiring, batteries, speakers. And when travelers coil cables tightly, inside them, TSA sees dense, circular shapes that overlap. And again, overlap equals attention. Then chargers, multi-port chargers, international adapters, messy cable bundles. Travelers underestimate how suspicious chaos looks on an X-ray. TSA doesn't see my charging kit, they see confusion, and confusion slows lines. And slowing lines means officers intervene faster, more aggressively than e-readers, which sound harmless until you realize many have thick back panels, batteries larger than phones, and travelers often forget to separate them, stacking them with phones, wallets, power banks. That stack is a red flag, not because it's illegal, but because it hides details. And hiding details is the enemy of fast screening. And finally, phones themselves. Not phones alone, but multiple. Phones, old phones, backup phones, business phones, personal phones. Especially when powered off completely, TSA doesn't ban powered off phones. But powered-off devices remove quick verification options. Officers can't see screens light up, can't confirm function instantly. So in 2026, they look closer, ask more questions, sometimes request power-on checks. And what ties all 10 of these electronics together isn't danger, it's uncertainty. TSA hates uncertainty. Uncertainty slows the system. And in modern airport security, anything that slows the system gets attention whether you deserve it or not. And here's the part travelers never hear: TSA behavior. Detection isn't just about faces and movements anymore, it's about habits, how you place electronics, how organized you are, how quickly your items make sense on a screen. Calm travelers with clean layouts move faster. Stressed travelers with cluttered electronics move slower, and slower equals scrutiny. And if you're wondering why in 2026 it feels like TSA is watching you more, it's because they kind of are. But not in the way people imagine. They're watching patterns, not people, images, not intentions. And once you understand that, airport security stops feeling personal and starts feeling predictable, which is the real travel advantage nobody talks about. And that's why knowing these electronics and how TSA sees them isn't about fear. It's about control.com and getting through security without your heart rate jumping every time. Your bag gets pulled aside because in the end, TSA isn't hunting criminals. They're hunting clarity. And the clearer your electronics look, the smoother your travel.